Oh my goodness, you guys, I look like a Disney princess. Like, what the heck? No cap. Period, no tampon. Wow, is this actually me? No, I had to film something. Like, come on.
Here she comes now.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new, we're glad to have you here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Why does society treat us like this? Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we put so much pressure on ourselves to achieve certain milestones by certain ages? Why do we put such a limit on age? Why do we treat 30 like it's the beginning of death? Why are we always so hard on ourselves? Why? Why don't we just take each day as it comes? If I told you that I had it all figured out, I would be lying. And anyone who tells you that they have it all figured out is lying as well. A wise man once told me that the world says to find your passion and then pursue it, but you have to try stuff out before you can realize what your passion truly is. It's okay to not know exactly what you want to do as a career. It's okay to not know what your dream job is. It's okay to not have a dream job. I don't understand why, because of social media, we've just forgotten that life is not linear. It's not a straight path for everyone. Not everyone is going to buy their first apartment by the age of 23. Not everyone is going to buy their first house by 25. Why do we put these expectations on ourselves? Why don't we just allow ourselves to live freely as human beings and allow ourselves to make mistakes and fall down and get back up? So I was sitting down and asking myself the other day, where do these expectations come from? The expectation to know exactly where your life is headed. And these are the answers that I got. Our parents. A lot of African households, just generally, they're high intensity in the sense that people's parents have such high expectations for them, especially when they go abroad. They expect their children to be the best and to not waste the money that they spend on their kids. But I just think as human beings, we should allow room for error. We should make room for mistakes. We should make room for exploration. We should allow ourselves to explore, even if it comes at a cost. I think not being able to explore and then later down the line regretting it and it being much more difficult for you to retrace your steps is more costly than you exploring at an earlier stage. What I mean, for example, is someone who, let's say, they've always desired to become a chef, but they've grown up in a house where everybody studied either engineering, law, or medicine. So being a chef just wasn't an option. And they tried telling their parents, I love cooking and I love making meals and creating something from nothing. But their parents shut it down and didn't allow them to even go to a cooking culinary school or try practicing at home. They just shut it down. And then the person ends up studying law and spends like 5 years of their lives studying a subject they hate. They get good grades because they persevered, and then they ended up working at a law firm, and then by the time they were 40 they realized that they actually wanted to still pursue that culinary dream, that it wasn't just some childhood aspiration, it was a real passion of theirs. And so they decided to go to culinary school after all. But a part of me is like, as much as they've spent all those years growing and learning, they could have shortened that journey. The cost would have been smaller in comparison. They could have enjoyed more fulfilled years if they had been allowed to explore those passions and desires earlier on. So I think that our generation hopefully should be able to do better in terms of allowing our kids to explore and actually to diversify their hobbies and their interests. And I think where the pressure also comes from is from our peers, from our colleagues, because everybody is so good at putting up a facade these days. Everybody loves showing their best selves on social media. Everybody loves showing how they're living their best lives on social media, but nobody talks about the difficulties. Nobody talks about feeling lost. Nobody talks about the loneliness that comes with adulthood. Nobody talks about any of that.
Somebody's got to speak the truth. People! Listen to me, please. Listen to me.
And so we all just sit in a circle and sing praises to each other, and everybody goes back home depressed and alone and unfulfilled with their lives. And so the reason why you feel like it's only you who doesn't have things figured out is because everybody else is pretending like they do, even though they don't. So I think we should do better in being more vulnerable with each other and being more transparent and honest about our struggles, because it helps other people feel less alone. And I think the pressure also comes from ourselves. We are too hard on ourselves, especially my generation, Gen Z, and I think the generation before as well, millennials, I think, or is it Gen X? I don't know. The generations before mine and my generation, we are too hard on ourselves a lot of the time. We put these milestones in our heads, these subconscious milestones that we have to achieve, that we have to hit by X date, by X time, just because it seems to be the norm. It seems to be what everyone else is doing. But we need to remember that our journey is our journey. Your journey is your journey. And if it's faster paced or slower paced than anyone else's, it's not a problem. It's nothing bad. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It just means you are even more unique. Your story is even more interesting or different than somebody else's. And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's how life is. Life is up and down. It's a roller coaster ride. Everyone has to go on their different paths. So if you find yourself so-called lagging behind or not catching up to other people, give yourself grace. Just give yourself some grace, okay? Just be kind to yourself, okay? Just be kind to yourself. What do you do if you don't know where you're headed? What do you do if you just look at your future and you see confusion? I think the best thing anyone can do is to just try stuff out and really try it. If you want to see if you're good at painting, really try it. Don't just do it for a week and call it quits. Really give it time and dedication and try to see if it's something that you would enjoy doing. I know not everyone has the luxury of doing this, but I really think that at the end of the day, it's your life. I don't want to say you are going to write your story, but you will have the most say after God. You will have the most say in how your story ends, how your story turns out. So don't take it lightly when other people dictate your story for you. Fight for your story, fight for your narrative, fight to live the life that you want, especially when it comes to things like careers. If it means you have to learn a new skill in order to break into a new industry, do it. Learn the new skill, put in the time, really try new stuff out. Less planning and more action. Less talking, more action. This kind of ties in with my previous point, but I guess a lot of African parents don't take a lot of other careers outside of medicine, law, and engineering as seriously, because sometimes we just tell them, Mom, I love writing or I love dancing.
Step, step, kick, and shimmy, 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 shimmy. 1, 2, boogie, and Shorty George. Shorty George. Fish tail, and crazy legs. Crazy legs. Just square, and big finish.
But they just see it as a hobby because we don't actually act it out. We don't actually show them that this is something that we are good at and we are passionate about. So more action, put in the time to work on your craft. And this is something I'm trying to do, trying to be more intentional about, is songwriting and writing in general, and just writing, singing, just doing more of that. The most important thing I think is having an interest. Focus on having an interest as opposed opposed to producing output, especially at the early stages of exploration. Whenever you're exploring something new, focus on the interest, focus on the little daily nuggets of passion, the little daily nuggets where you get to be in that space of creativity and the little steps that you're going to take to reach your final destination. I don't know how much that makes sense, but I think, yeah, just focus on enjoying each moment. Focus on enjoying the action, the activity, as opposed to producing output. I just feel like this life is difficult enough without all the added stress of living a life that somebody else should be living. So what's your dream? Whatever it is, you can do it.
I am so powerful. My mind, it amazes me sometimes.